are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Mandy Lynn. I'm an author, I'm a YouTuber, book cover designer, all that jazz. Today, we are doing our webinar, Selling Books with Facebook Ads. So I've got a little slideshow presentation for you guys. I've got some other stuff planned as well. But when you guys pop in, feel free to just say hello in the comments. If you have questions, just ask them. Go ahead. I will try my best to answer them. Otherwise, I'm just going to jump straight into this presentation, which, of course, is selling books with Facebook ads. So first of all, today, what will you learn? So we're going to be talking about finding your ideal reader on Facebook, writing sales copy that sells, creating eye-catching graphics, and creating your Facebook ads as well. So to introduce myself, my name is Mandy Lynn. I already gave a quick intro, but I will give you a little bit more about myself. I'm a YouTuber. I do videos on writing, publishing, and book marketing. For the most part, I talk more about self-publishing because that's how my books are published. I'm also a book cover designer. I love working with authors of all genres, and I also have pre-made covers available. I do an online course called AuthorTube Academy. As an author on YouTube, we are part of a community called AuthorTube. So I basically just have this online course to teach you how to find loyal readers on YouTube. And then lastly, I also have a new project I've started called the Book Launch Planner. It's a planner designed by authors for authors to help you plan your book launch without stress. So now that you know who I am, I'm just going to let you know these are the books I've published. If you're watching, feel free to let me know what type of books you write. So as you can see, I write YA fantasy, YA historical fantasy, and psychological thriller. But not only that, I also have these nonfiction books, and this is more of what we're talking about today. Today, a lot of what I'm talking about comes from the third book in the Marketing for Authors series, Book Sales That Multiply. So Book Sales That Multiply really focuses in on how to use ads and things like that to help you create more book sales. So book one is how your book sells itself. It's basically 10 ways your book is your ultimate marketing tool. That means the cover, the title, the subtitle, all those things. Then we have Grow Your Author Platform. That's book two. That's creating an online platform that will allow you to naturally make book sales. And book three, which again is what we're talking about today, is using more ads to create book sales. So first of all, if we're going to be talking about ads, the first things we need to talk about is your ideal reader. So your ideal reader is the perfect person to buy and read your book and hopefully review your book. They're the type of people that will leave a 5-star review about your book. They're the type of people that will tell their friends about the book. And they're the type of people that will do the marketing for you. Now, this is important because since you're creating ads, you don't want to waste your money selling your book and paying to do an ad to someone who is not your ideal reader. So you really, when it comes to creating ads, you really want to be targeted about who you're talking to. So there. The point of targeting your ideal reader is so you don't waste ad money on someone who may not like your book. Because how much would that suck if you paid and promoted an ad and the people that bought the book ended up paying the book and then left a bad review of the book? Because that does happen sometimes. So the whole point of the ideal reader is so that doesn't happen. So hold on. Sorry, guys. So I actually have this lovely little thing right here. So this is the ideal reader profile. You will all get a download to this profile. You can either, I believe it should be in the description of this video, or there will also be an email after this webinar where you'll get all the downloads. So this is everything you will need to create your ideal reader profile. I talk about it in Book Sales That Multiply. Of course, we're talking about it today as well. So ideally, you want your ideal reader profile for every single book that you write. And that way you can create a specific market and you know how you want to market that book. So up in the top here, you can put this ideal reader profile is for your book title. So what I want you to do is I want you to really think specifically about who the perfect person is for your book. And that can go for age, gender, education, profession, all that. Some of these things will apply more or less depending on the type of book. So education applies more when the book is nonfiction, whereas for a fiction book, education isn't super important. So if you're writing, say, some sort of science nonfiction book, obviously you want education would be someone who either is in college or has graduated college. Whereas if you write YA fantasy, education isn't super important, but odds are there's someone who's in high school or above. So that's why those questions are there. Same with profession. Profession is super important when it comes to nonfiction books, because obviously if you're writing like a book about crafts, you may not want to, your ideal reader isn't going to be someone who's I don't know, who's an auto body person. So you want to really target it specifically so you get the best results. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this entire profile that you fill out, and you're going to use it to help target your ad on Facebook. And you can use it to target your ad in all places, not just on Facebook. So other questions you want to answer is, what genres do they read? What genres do they dislike? What are their favorite authors? How would your ideal reader describe your book to a friend? What is their hobby outside of reading? What websites or online influencers do they follow? How they normally discover their next book. Is it book club, the library, Goodreads, or Facebook? Are they on social media? And if they are, what are their favorite platforms? And then these are the, I guess you could call them bonus questions. If you're writing nonfiction, what is their ultimate goal? AKA, what do they want to achieve by the end of reading your book? What is a struggle that's holding them back? And what do they seek to learn or discover? So these are all things that you only really need to answer if you're writing nonfiction. And then the questions above are questions you want to answer no matter what you're writing. And especially the, let's see. So the social media question is a very good question. So this is very important, especially since we're talking about Facebook ads, because your ideal reader may not be on Facebook. So Facebook has generally an older demographic, which is fine. But if you write young adult, odds are you're not going to be able to do well with Facebook ads with a young adult book. You could do Instagram ads with a young adult book and do your book that way, because Facebook and Instagram are now linked. So when you create an ad, you can also create an Instagram ad at the same time, or you can work through Facebook to just create an Instagram ad, and we'll get into that more later. But if your readership is not on Facebook, then you obviously don't want to waste your time advertising the book on Facebook. So now that we know ideal reader, we've got this profile set up, and we'll come back to this profile later on, and we'll use it when we're targeting our Facebook ad. But before we get into that, I want to talk about creating the Facebook ad itself. So your Facebook ad, you kind of have three things you need before you can go in and create the ad. So you need graphics, you need sales copy, and you need a link. The link is probably the easiest part, but I still want to talk about it just a little bit. So we're going to be talking about I guess you could say my basic rules of design. I have 6 of them. These are just things where I see people kind of mess up the most when it comes to creating their graphics. And all these graphics that you see today, I used I created using BookBrush, and I'll show you how to create them as well. But I really wanted to get these design principles because I think these are the ones where people kind of most struggle. So the first rule is balance. So balance is super important in design, just so things don't feel lopsided. So all the little graphics you see today, these are going to be bad examples, I guess you could say. So this is unbalanced, and it's also kind of bare as well. So besides being balanced, there's no text, there's nothing selling, there's just my book and this button that says available on Amazon. So obviously, if we wanted to correct this, we would want to put something like text right here and maybe make this available at Amazon button smaller. That way we create more balance in the image. Next is color. So I like to say when it comes to color, try not to use more than 2 or 3 colors. So in here we have the color of the book cover, which is kind of green, blue. We have a purple, we have green, we have red. So we have too many colors. And obviously the text in it isn't exactly the best, but I just wanted to show you an example of color being all over the place. So when you're designing your graphic, I like to take the book cover and use the book cover to figure out what I want the design to look at like as a whole. So obviously the book color is black, white, and a green, blue sort of color. So the idea would be that I take these colors and incorporate it everywhere else to make a nice, clean looking design that's appealing to the eye. Number 3 is contrast. This is something that I see a lot of, is that there's not enough contrast in color, so you have a hard time reading things. So this is actually a graphic I had made in the past. I've used it, but what I did was originally there was like a blackish background inside this text box. And when it had a blackish background, it made it a lot easier to read this white text. But right now it's really hard to read the white text because it's blending in with this faded out background. So there's not enough contrast. So you're not able to easily read it. So whenever you have text, I want you guys to kind of sit back, look at it. And if you can't read it from afar, you need to edit some things and make it a lot easier to read. Because people see a Facebook ad, they're just scrolling through their phones, they're going through everything very quickly, and you only have a few seconds to catch someone's eye. And you need to be able to catch their eye enough so that they stop and read your ad and hopefully click on it. So if your ad is hard to read, they're just going to keep scrolling. Next is the hierarchy of information. So this is just making the most important part of the ad the most eye-catching, I guess you could say. So right now, always the most important is usually your book cover. If you have a good book cover, it can sell the book itself. And then next would be the text. You want the text to be what's selling the book. But obviously, what's wrong here is the fact that the buy now at Amazon.com button is huge, like way too big. So if you're doing this properly, the best thing to do would be to make this text bigger and then this button smaller, like maybe only about that big, and have the text take up all the rest of the room, because that's what matters. This buy now at Amazon.com button isn't that important. It's just there to make people feel like they can click on it. And also make people aware that, if they don't buy it today, they can always look it up on Amazon later. But it's not super important. And the way hierarchy works in graphic design is that the biggest image or text or anything like that, whatever's the biggest in the design, is what people are going to be drawn to first. So you want to make that the most important information. So right now, your eye's immediately being drawn to either the book cover or the Amazon button. And the Amazon button is not important. So you need to make it smaller and everything else bigger. Next is text. So I have a personal rule of I don't like to use more than 2 types of text in most designs, and especially for like Amazon or Facebook ads, I would say don't use more than 2 types of text. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different fonts here, and it's just all over the place. It kind of looks cool, but a little weird at the same time. The most professional thing you can do is to just use 2 types of text, and obviously, if this one sentence you'd want to be all one font, and then if you really wanted, this could be a different font. But the point is here, try not to go too crazy with your text. And even the fonts that you do choose, try to have them more basic fonts, have them easy to read. Some people like to get really fancy with their fonts, but really simplicity is key. And that's where we talk about simplicity. So this could apply to just about anything. You want simple, 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 because it's just an ad graphic. People are looking at it quickly. You need their eye to catch the correct things. But here, simplicity is key in the fact that this background is really busy. So because the background is so busy, it's like the book cover here almost blends in. This text box blends in a little too much, and you could up the opacity and make it so it's not so see-through. But even then, this background would still be absolutely insane. So I always like to say, when it comes to graphic design, usually less is more. The mistake I see most often is when people feel like they, if they don't feel super comfortable with graphic design and they get in an app like BookBrush and they're like, ooh, I'm going to design this. They go a little bit too crazy. They add in too many bells and whistles, and they put in too many fonts or buttons. Less is always more when it comes to graphic design. So this is where we go ahead and we talk about BookBrush. So BookBrush is a fancy tool, and I definitely forgot to pull it up in my browser, so don't mind me while I do that now, because I'm just going to take you through BookBrush really quickly and create an ad with you guys, and also show you some of the ads that I've created. Let's see, where's the login? Oh, I'm already logged in. Sorry, guys. So here we have, these are some of the templates I've made in the past, and you may recognize some of these. So as you can see, this was the one where I was saying earlier there wasn't enough contrast. So in the original one, you can see that I added a little bit of this black background, so you can read it a lot easier. And this is the other ad where I messed with all the fonts. So as you can see, I only have one font here. It's a lot easier to read. You're like, if you were to back away, you can read it easily. Here's another ad I created. It's just a simple white background with the book and the text. And then this is the ad that I had shown you guys earlier, where the Amazon button was huge, but the text was tiny. So here you can see that the balance is a lot better. So now that I've kind of shown you my own templates, I'm going to go ahead and create one, create just something with you guys. So when we go to ad size over here, we can select from popular sizes. So since we're talking about Facebook ads, we're just going to click the Facebook icon, and you can see we have a few different things to choose from, but I'm going to go with the basic Facebook ad. And let's see. All right, so this is already Facebook ad size. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just delete everything. Okay, so I'm going to start with choosing a background. So let's see, what do I want to do? You can really search anything. You can upload your own backgrounds. I'm going to go with like another foresty background and see what we can come up with, because I think that would be cool. I think this is the one that's in there right now, just to give you guys a little bit of insight. But let's go with this. And as you can see, so what I did just then, so I clicked on the one I wanted, and then you can double click it and it'll bring up everything where you can play around with stuff. You can zoom in, zoom out. Let's do that. You can mess with the background transparency. I love to dull the background because the background isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is what's going to go on it. And you can also add a border. You can change the border color. You can add overlays, which is really fun. So you can add this sort of, let's see, did that work? There we go. So you can add these different textures and things like that. But personally, that might be a little much. So we're going to keep it like that. And then we're going to go to book template. So you can choose what you want your 3D rendering of your book to look like. Let's see. these are cool if you want to do like cover reveals, if you want to hint at your cover. I love these ones with the hands. These are new. So I'm going to click this one, and then you're going to select which book you want to promote. So let's go with Essence, because this is very much, you know, Essence-esque. And it's just loading it in there. And we're going to just put that right there. So we've got the book, we've got the background. Next is the text. And I've already got a text box in there, but make it a button. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, let's see. What did I do? So we're gonna go ahead and make that white. And so the text is white, and let's resize that just a tad. Let's see. Okay. So we're gonna make the background, I don't want it to be a gradient, so let's remove that. Actually, let's not do that. Okay, we're gonna remove that because I don't know what I'm doing right now. So we're gonna add some shadow to the text. That's a new feature they just added in there. We can add in a border if we'd like, and whether or not we want the corners to be rounded. I kind of like the rounded look. We can mess with the line height of the text. Let's see, and where's the text shadow again? So that's looking good, but I actually think I want to edit the background and make it a little bit more transparent. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and make the text black. I think that will, yes, that looks much better. And let's see, where's the border color? There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna make the border black as well. So simple as that. And last but not least, we have these stamps. Oops, didn't mean to zoom in. We can add like things like 5-star ratings, the available at Amazon button, Kindle Unlimited. I usually just go with the Amazon button because that's where most of my sales come from anyways. And there we go. And ta-da, I would say that's pretty good. That's done. I actually might go ahead and remove that text shadow because I think sometimes less is more. If you want, you can make the, like, if you make the text shadow white, I don't think it shows up if it's white. But I personally like it more without any text shadow when the text is black. And I could say that's done right there. I think that looks good. And if you liked it, you can save it as a template or you can just download it. I like to save everything I do as a template just so I have it for later if I want to fix things. But BookBrush, they have a paid version and a free version. If you do the free version, you're a little bit limited in your book templates. And you can only have 3 downloads a month. But when you have the paid version, you get all these lovely templates as well as an unlimited downloads. So I personally think it's really worth it. It's a really quick, easy tool. I love the 3D renderings, especially the hand ones. I think they look cool. Plus, let's leave this. One of the cool things they do now as well, if I can find it, because I feel like they might have moved it. There's another little rendering, instant mock-ups. So this is something new they have. I love it. I think it's so cool. So you can basically put your book cover wherever you want. So it's really cool. You just upload your book cover and you have like all these Instagram worthy pictures. So if you're someone who writes young adult and you can only, you know, do ads through Instagram because what's the word? Your audience isn't on Facebook, this is a really great place to go because Instagram, the type of graphics you create for Facebook is very different than the type of graphics you'd want to create for Instagram. So if you do want to do an ad or if you just want something to post on your Instagram, this is a great place to go because there's so many options and they'll look cool, it looks professional, and you really don't have to do much. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about creating sales copy, because I like to have all my stuff created before I go ahead and create my ad. I like to have the graphic ready. I like to have the sales copy ready all before I even go in and start the ad. So these are just a few different examples of the type of sales copy you can use, whether that be on the graphic itself or the sales copy that you write for your Facebook ad. So the first example would be review quotes. This is something I love to do. Sometimes your readers will sell your book better than yourself. So just take a one sentence review from them and use it as a little quote to help promote your book. Next could be credentials. So if you write nonfiction or fiction works as well, you can just be like, best-selling author of blah, blah, blah. And if people see best-selling, they're like, oh, a whole bunch of other people loved it, so I'll love it too. Then we have a one-sentence pitch of the book. So here's an example, or part of an example. Dark contemporary meets medical thriller in this story of blank, blank, blank. But obviously you'd want to put the whole pitch there. And then you can also use your comp titles. If you love blank, then you'll love blank. So obviously you could be like, if you love the Hunger Games, then you'll love my book, blah, blah, blah. Then we have discounts. You could promote a sale if there's a sale going on. So on sale for $9.99 today only, or 99 cents, sorry. Then we have teaser content. So you could do an excerpt of your novel. So instead of linking over to like the Amazon page, you can link it over to your website and people could sign up for your email list. And when they sign up for your email list, they get the first chapter of your book for free. So not only are you getting people on your email list, but you're also getting people to start reading the book as well. And hopefully they'll read it, they'll love it, and they'll just want to keep reading it, and they'll buy the book. And the best thing to do if you do that, make sure in the if you have them reading like a PDF, put a link to buy the book at the end of the PDF so they don't have to do any of the work. So let's get in and actually create the ad. So I'm going to go into Facebook with you guys, and we're going to really, really get in and create an ad. So I'm not going to show you how to access the back end just because I don't want to show some of my personal information. But the way you access the ads manager is that you create like a business page for your Facebook page, and then you go in and you go to your ads manager and create new campaign. So your campaign is your overarching name for it. Could be one ad or a whole bunch of ads. So you can see it broken down here. We have the campaign. There are ad sets within the campaign, and then within the ad sets there is an ad. So that can be a little confusing. I personally have never done a huge campaign. I usually just do within a campaign, I have one ad running, and that's probably what you guys will do as well, unless you really, really fall in love with Facebook and think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Otherwise, this is what you will see when you create a new campaign and you want to create an ad. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. So this is all about the objective. What's your marketing objective? Is it traffic? Is it engagement? Is it app installs? A lot of this is self-explanatory, and the best thing about Facebook is that even though they're slightly confusing, I do find them not to be the most user-friendly ad. That they are very like helpful, where if you don't know what something is, you can hover your mouse and you can figure it out. So for traffic, it says, oops, well, it did say send more people to a destination on or off Facebook, such as a website, app, or messenger conversion. So I 9 times out of 10 use the traffic as my objective, because I'm always just sending someone to a link that's either my own website, a mailing list sign up, or my Amazon link. So I'm just going to click traffic. You guys can feel free to play around with stuff, but 9 times out of 10, traffic will be your best bet. So once we hit traffic, we can name the campaign. Oops. I'm just going to call this webinar so I know later that I can delete this and not worry about it. And then, so right here, A/B testing is when, so say if you have two different graphics and you aren't sure which one will perform better, you can do the A/B testing. And Facebook kind of does the hard work for you, where you can set up two separate ads, and whichever one performs better, Facebook will automatically start promoting more. So the variable will be what you want to test. So if it's the graphic, another name for graphic is creative. So you can test that, or you can test the delivery optimization, which would be like where the ad appears on Facebook. You could test the audience. So if you have two different audiences you create, you can see which one it sells to better, and you can test the placement as well. That's something more advanced, and you guys can play around with it yourself. But for today, I'm going to turn it off so we can go into the more basic stuff. So here is where you set your budget, whether it be a daily budget or a lifetime budget. I personally prefer doing a lifetime budget because then I know how much I'm going to spend in total, and I don't feel like I'm going to spend more than that. For today, I'm going to do a lifetime budget, not $1,000. We're going to do $100. I normally do anywhere between $30 to $100, depending on how good I'm feeling about it. When you're brand new, start off low with something like $30. See how it goes. If it doesn't go well, you can change things around. Or if it does go well, maybe you want to invest more money and try it out more. So let's hit continue. Let's see. So we have, I'm going to just go start scrolling down. This is where, so your audience is where our ideal reader profile come into hand. So we are going to, where's the button? I want the more options button. No, I don't. Hold on. Because I think I have audiences saved, but you can also create your own audience. But where, okay, so I think we do create new. I'm not used to it because custom audience. Here we go. So we're gonna, since we're sending people to a website, I don't think this is the right thing. I'm sorry, guys. I was just in here yesterday and it didn't look like this. Did I scroll past something? Don't mind me. Let's custom audience. Create a custom audience. We're gonna do a website traffic, and we're just gonna call this example. Let's see. Find new people. Yeah, so I always like to find new people because obviously if I already have people, then I don't need to keep sending them ads. If you guys are really into like where your audience is located, I just choose more. There will be an option later on where you can choose language. As long as people speak English, I'm happy to target them. Otherwise, my books aren't geographically specific, so I tend to ignore that. And then here, whoops. We have an audience size. This is not looking like it normally does. Hold on. I think I might have the wrong thing. And I don't want to teach you guys the wrong thing. Let's see. I wonder if I can, let's see. Female readers. Okay, here we go. So normally I would like to think it will look different for you guys because you won't have any created audiences yet. But for me, I already have a whole bunch of audiences I've already created. So this one here is called Female Reader. This is actually for, I was experimenting, what was it? I believe an ad for Essence, which is my young adult fantasy. And obviously it didn't do the best because, you know, young adult isn't a great thing for Facebook, but I figured I'd give it a shot. So I did the name of the audience, I called it Female Readers. They lived in the US. They were ages 13 and up. They were women. And one of my favorite things about Facebook is that you can target people by their interests, because at some point we've all been the type of people who really get bored and fill out our Facebook profiles and say, I'm interested in this, in this, in this movie, in this author, and that. So you can really get into it and add in these interests. So we can see they're interested in novels, they're interested in young adult fiction, they're interested in reading, and you can even start searching more. So let's do, I wonder if I stay. Sometimes you can do movies. So we have like the movie If I Stay. I like to say that's a comp title to Essence. So I could either do the movie or the book. So we can see here it's considered a film. So if they enjoyed the movie If I Stay, they may enjoy Essence. And you can really just get into it that way. And once you have a few of these down, you can hit suggestions, and there's a whole bunch more. So you can see a lot of different things. I could select urban fantasy because it's an urban fantasy. I could select The Fault in Our Stars, could be another comp title. A Walk to Remember. Amazon Kindle would be a good one. We have dark fantasy, that'd be a good one. So basically, once you get a few of these in, you can start getting these suggestions and start adding more of these in. And then before you know it, you have a decent amount of stuff to help you target. And then from there, you can select languages, but I like to do English because if they don't speak English, they aren't going to be able to read my book. And for you guys, you're just going to hit, I believe it's like create or save. For me, since this is already an audience I created, it's going to be update. So it just says updating female readers. Can't be edited. Okay. So these are past things, past campaigns I've run. So it's just telling me I can't update stuff that's gone on in the past. So we have our audience picked out. And again, you're going to use your ideal reader profile to figure out your targeting, because once you, since, we were talking about interests, we can figure out what other interests they would have. And you can use that to target people on Facebook because they put those interests on Facebook. And then here's where you can edit your ad placement. This is one of my favorite things to do. Because there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So sometimes my favorite thing is just to hit the automatic placement because Facebook is great. They know what they're doing. But if you guys want to mess around, like you don't want to advertise on Instagram or you don't want to advertise on Messenger. I personally hate how Facebook advertises on Messenger. I don't enjoy it as a consumer, so I don't like to target people that way. So I tend to uncheck that, but yeah, so that's up to you guys. You can choose, and you can also see little examples. So if you hover over it, you can see what it would look like in, in someone's feed if they saw it. So we have a whole bunch of different things. You can advertise in your stories, and you can also customize your advertisement. That'll be in your story if you need to, but we'll get to that down here. So again, you can pick or choose. I'm just going to leave it all for now because this isn't an ad I'm actually going to run, but you guys can see all the different examples. There's a lot of stuff where you guys can advertise now. So our optimization, we want people to click the link. So we have link click collected, but you can also do daily unique reach, impressions, landing page views, all that. I like to just do link clicks. You can schedule it to go out. So I could schedule it to go out today at, 1 p.m. and end a month from now. And then, did we already do, I don't think we've done the creative yet. Yeah, I was just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so we're gonna keep going once it loads. Okay, so this is where everything we've created, the little graphics or the sales copy, this is where it all comes into hand. So you can do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different options. As someone who's just advertising for a book, you're probably going to want to keep it to the single image or video. That will be your best bet because odds are you'll only have a single image or you'll have a video. BookBrush also does videos now where you can add in cool little like flames that are going off in the background, things like that. So this is where you would upload that. We can upload it here, so you can click add image. Let's see. I already have, let's go for this She's Not Here one that I already have going. And I'm going to delete this first one because I don't know why, but that is upload. Oops. Did it do it? Nope, it did not. Sorry guys, normally it doesn't do this to me. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So this is my ad. Read the first 3 chapters for free. So we have a few different things going on here. We have primary text, the headline, and the description. 9 times out of 10, I don't put anything in the description because the description doesn't show up on all ads. The description, I believe, is this little thing right there. So I like to do the headline first because the headline is this bold spot right here. So I just like to make that whatever is the selling point, I make that the headline. So read the first 3 chapters free. And I like to put free in all caps. And then from here, I would use this primary text to describe She's Not Here. So this is where I'd put Mandy Lynn's newest psychological thriller. It's dark contemporary meets psychological thriller, something like that. That's where you'd put your one-line pitch so you can really sell it. The image just catches your eye. It says, ooh, something's free. And then this primary text is what describes the book. So dark contemporary meets guys. Okay, you guys get to see how bad of a typer I am. This is what spell check is for. Oh boy. All right, something's wrong with my keyboard today. I apologize. So that's that. And then you just put your website link. You have your display link versus your actual where it's linking to. I will say this, if your display link doesn't match your actual website link, they will not approve your ad and you'll have to fix it later. So make sure that these 2 things match, or at least closely match. So like if my display link was mandylyn.com, but my website URL was actually linking to mandylyn.com/ whatever, that'd be fine. But if the display link was mandylyn.com, but the website URL was like an Amazon link, they wouldn't let that pass. Like they would have an issue with that. Your call to action, that's this button right here. It's just what you want that to say. You can do whatever you guys want. My favorite is learn more. That way people don't feel like they're being forced to buy something. In this case, you could put download because this is just, I'm not asking for someone to buy something right now. I'm just saying, hey, you can read the first 3 chapters of this book for free. So that download button is telling them like, oh, it really is free. I can get that right now. But if you're linking to like Amazon, your book's Amazon page, so they can actually buy the book, I like to put learn more. So they feel like they can look at the book a little bit more. They can see the reviews for the book. They can read more of the description before they decide if they want to buy. It's less pushy when you have the learn more button versus the buy now button. You can add languages if you want to. Again, I just have it set for English because if they don't speak English, they're not going to be able to read the book. Facebook Pixel, that's a way that you can track how many clicks your ad is getting. It's more advanced. It's a little complicated, so I'm not going to talk about it today. So after you do all that, because that's really all there is to it, then you hit the confirm button, you submit it for review, and then you wait until it gets either accepted or rejected. and hopefully it gets accepted. So that's how you create a Facebook ad. Again, I apologize. It was a little messy. I was just in there yesterday and it looked totally different. Today, my profile looked a little rearranged, but that's okay. Facebook makes updates all the time and you just got to click around until you find where they put things. So if you guys enjoyed this webinar, if you felt like you learned a lot about Facebook ads, there is a lot more about ads you can learn or just promoting your book in general. That is what the third book in the Marketing for Authors series is all about. So besides learning more about Facebook ads, you can also learn about newsletter features, ebook promotional websites, Goodreads giveaways, and Amazon ads. My personal favorite is Amazon ads. I've had a lot of luck with Amazon ads. And at the end of every single book in the Marketing for Authors series, there is a resource library at the end of the book with just a whole lot of just great websites and tools that you can look at. So if you're interested in this book, you can use this bit.ly link. The link is also in the description of this video, and it will also be in the email that you get after this webinar. This is the part where I ask if you guys have any questions. This is where you can find me online. I'm on YouTube, Mandy Lynn Vlogs. I'm everywhere else on social media as Mandy Lynn Writes. And it's been great talking to you guys for this webinar. I'm here for another few minutes if you have questions, but I don't see any questions yet. So I'm going to have an awkward pause and see if you guys have anything else to say. Otherwise, that was it. So I don't see anything coming in, so I am going to end this webinar. Thank you all so much for joining in. I hope you learned something. If you did, let me know either in the comments of this or tagging me online afterwards saying, you found this helpful. Otherwise, that is it. Thank you all for watching, and see you later.